Good evening once again, Journal Club members. We apologize, we are 11 minutes late. My name is Dr. Joyce Wangare. I am the lead mentor in AIDA Africa Journal Club program. The Journal Club program exists to connect researchers of all walks, disciplines, levels, institutions, as well as research interests in our common language, which is research. I will tell you a little background about this training before I introduce our trainer. The mobile data collection with Kobo Toolbox Part 2 is a continuation of Part 1. And we know that the proliferation, welcome Conrad.
Sorry for being late. I'm absolutely sorry.
No problem. Let me introduce you and then you will be able to screen share. I believe David is working on that. Thanks. So the proliferation of mobile devices like mobile phones and tablets, coupled with cheap and ubiquitous internet connectivity, have made mobile or electronic data collection in the field much easier and cheaper. So instead of printing out costly paper, spending a lot of money and time in putting the data into a desktop PC, all one needs is a mobile device, the internet and a software tool to not only collect data, but also validate it and download it into a ready to analyze format. So we already did Part 1 where we learned how to create a questionnaire in Kobo Toolbox. I hope we will be able to continue with that today. And hopefully at the end of Part 2, deploy the actual questionnaire after we complete it to other collaborators and download the form in Excel ready for analysis. Additionally, installing Kobo on your mobile phone is something you will be taught how to do. We did that for Part 1, and even if you missed Part 1, that's all right. You should be able to learn how to install the app onto your mobile phone and how to collect data from the form that you will create. So if you're here, you're a student or anyone interested in knowing the basics of how to collect data, you're in the right place. A lot of us are researchers, we are interested in analysis, and we've been going to the field a lot. So of course, we recommend that you have a laptop, or a PC, which I believe you're not just joining from your mobile. Last time we had issues with some people trying to share, move across the screens on their mobile devices. So for this training, I hope you have both, your mobile and your laptop with you, and of course, stable internet. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about our presenter. Our facilitator today is one of us. His name is Mr. Conrad Ojiambo. He is a doctoral fellow at Strathmore University, Nairobi, where he teaches data management and digital transformation related courses in the School of Computing and Engineering Studies. Conrad has a vast experience in creating and deploying questionnaires for mobile data collection by supporting research at the Strathmore Business School using Kobo Toolbox and ODK. In his free time, he likes outdoor activities. In addition, he has his own consultancy in Voice Analytica. So I hope that at the end of this workshop, he will also share his contacts for anybody who would like further consultation on the use of Kobo. So without further ado, I'd like to hand over now the session to Conrad.
Okay, thanks, Wangari. First of all, once again, let me say I'm sorry for coming in 10 minutes late. Secondly, I don't know. I hope my hope is that maybe we are carrying on from where we left last time.
Yes.
So if there are any people who are still new, it might be, you might find they're going rough, but all the same, we'll see what to do about that. Today, I just wanted to, from where we left last time, we had created some basic data types, question types. So today, I just wanted to highlight some few, or, last time we didn't have enough time. So there's some additional question types or data types, which I wanted us to, you know, learn or see how they can be put in a questionnaire.
Wonderful. I think a good way is to ask who did not attend part 1 so that we know if everybody has the app. Is that a good idea?
Yes, it's a good idea. Who did not attend part 1?
Yeah. Okay, I've seen some hands raised. 2 people have raised. Enoch and Marceline did not attend part 1, so they may not have installed the app.
Okay.
Yeah. And Rose as well.
Also.
Yes. So those are the 3 so far. I haven't seen anything in the chat. So maybe you can guide us how to do that.
For those who are there last time, I believe you might know where to go. Oh, 1 minute, just let me.
Yes, we will get the links. Thank you.
Oops, sorry, not that one. Screen share. Yeah, so I believe you can go to Kobo Toolbox, and let me just log out so that we are all on the same page. Okay, so I would like you to go to your Kobo Toolbox account, and I'll just send that link just in case you don't have it. For those who did not attend, you actually need to go to this site and create an account. Okay, so let me just paste that on the chat. It's taking some time, sorry. Okay, so you just need to go and create an account. For those who do not have an account, but for those who do, so creating an account is it's quite self-explanatory. You just put your name, all these details, your password. And for those who do, like me, just log in. Okay, so for those who don't have an account, remember, you just need to put your details to Kobo Toolbox, create a username, put your email address, put a sector, choose your country, state whether you're male or female, put a password, confirm it, and yeah, you create an account. So for me, I've already created an account, so you'll just click on create account. For those who have, you know, who we already created with, just click on deployed, and you'll see your projects or the forms that you collected, you created. So as you can see, mine was called my project. I've got many, but mine was called my project, and you can just click on edit form. Okay, so we are editing the questions that we had previously. There's a question. Okay, sorry, that's David. Okay. Okay. So are we together up to there as we move?
So the new participants, have you managed to create an account? Remember to use all small letters. That's something we discovered.
Sorry, if you allow me, the host and the co-host. I'm on the road, so I'm trying to use my phone. Probably when I get somewhere, I'm able to, but I've already felt on how I can load, and I already have the link. So I'll follow for now, and my apologies for that.
Okay.
All right.
No
Thanks,
problem.
Emma. Yeah, we want to make sure nobody is lost at this stage. If you're lost, please say so before we proceed.
Yeah, so let me give you 2 minutes to do that. I believe that's more than enough time to log in or create an account. So by 7, towards the end of 7:22, you can continue from there. I'm giving that time because when you create an account, there's that process of confirming etc.
Yes. So if you're just coming in, please see the link in the chat and create an account with Kobo Toolbox. This is a highly practical workshop. If you missed part 1, that's all right, no problem. I see there is a hand up. Musembe, welcome. Please unmute your audio.
Thank you. I'm trying to open mine, and it had already been responded. So I don't know how I'm supposed to open it. Like the questionnaire had already been attended to. So I don't know how to open it now because it doesn't appear like the way yours is appearing on the screen. How do I go about it?
Conrad. I'm not sure if Conrad can hear us.
Sorry, was there a question?
Yes, there was a question. Musembe asked a question. Musembe, please repeat your question.
Thank you. I'm trying to ask about how to open my former project. I've clicked on the deployed icon, as you said, but then
Yes.
my questionnaire had already been attended to. So it's coming on a different way. I don't know how to open it.
It's coming on, huh? Okay,
like
so
it doesn't appear the way it is on your screen because it had already been responded to. Like
no,
I
no
used
problem.
the computer to respond.
No problem. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, so this is the deployed. When you click on deployed, you
Yes.
get a list of, okay, so like, for example, mine was called my project. So I clicked on my project.
Yes.
And then when you go towards the right of the screen, you'll see edit form. And click on it. Okay, can you see that? Quick links, and a quick links, collect data, share project, edit
Yes,
form.
yes. Okay, I got it. Thank you very much.
Okay, so let's proceed from here. Now, for those who have joined for the first time, we learned how to create questions or rather a questionnaire using Kobo Toolbox. And we looked at different types of questions. I'll not go into details, but as you can see, for example, you can create a question that's text-based, like what is your name? What is your gender? That is questions that have, where you need to select only one option, like either male, female. You cannot say you are both male and female. Questions that are binary, like are you married? Yes, no. Questions that allow you to have multiple selections, like for example, which of the following are your household sources of income? Business, salary, casual work, other. So in that case, you can select multiple. Maybe you've got a business and at the same time you are also salaried. Then we saw questions that have what are called skip logic. Let me see which one has a skip logic. Yeah, like for example, this particular question on, sorry. Oh, sorry. Where did we have the skip logic? Okay, I'll come back to that. I can't remember which question, but basically what it means is that if you have one question, skip logic means that if you have one question and you'd like a question to be asked dependent on the response that is given, you end up skipping the logic. Like for example, you might ask, do you have land? And if someone says yes, then that piece of land, then it asks the next question, how big is the piece of land? But if the person says no, then the question, how big is the piece of land, is not asked, okay? But I'll come back to that in a while. I think because of time, I want us to move to my agenda for today. And because if you were not here the first time, you'll still be able to follow because we are still creating questions, okay? So the first type, the next type of questions which I wanted us to look at are what are called ranking versus rating questions. Who can tell me the difference between ranking and rating? What is the difference between ranking and rating? Anybody? If you're asked to create a ranking question and a rating question, what do you think is the difference between the two?
Probably, if you allow me to try, I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
I think when you're asked to rate a question, then you probably be told to give a comparison of particular items, but on the scale that you're using. What could be ranking? I think then ranking, you also give a comparison of particular elements that you have, but then that means you're giving a comparison of those elements. Probably, I think that one I've forgotten, but it's a way, so you compare those individual elements. Probably
Okay.
like what we have on the Leakage scale. I mean, probably that's what I would give an example of what I mean on the Leakage scale. Yeah.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Yes. So thank you for that. Now, the terms ranking and rating sometimes are used interchangeably, but in research or in a questionnaire, they're different. As you can see there, a ranking question asks you to compare different items directly to one another. For example, you might be asked, please rank each of the following items in order of importance, from number 1 being the most important through number 10 being the least important, okay? So you rank items. This is the most important, or this is the least desirable, or this is, the most useful, etc. So you rank them. Rating, on the other hand, is when you get, when you're asked to compare different items using a common scale, like now what you said, the Leakage scale. So for example, you might be asked, please rate which of the following, each of the following items on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is not at all important and 10 is very important, okay? So let's look at an example of how to create each of these so that you can see the difference. Now, coming back to my questionnaire, I want us to create our first type of question, which is a ranking question, okay? So you'll go to you remember how to add a question, you click on this particular plus sign. For those who are new, just click on new form. When you go to Kobo Toolbox, click on new form, and you shall be able to create a new form. Okay, so I think maybe for the purpose of those who are new, I'll just go back a little bit. Click on this new, and then click on build from scratch, and enter a name. Just quickly type something like my project. And you can forget about the description, just enter some details there, even if it's Afghanistan or something like that, and create a project. Okay, so that will allow you to have an empty form, and from there you click on this button to add a new question. Okay, for those of us who are continuing, we just continue with our old form. Okay, we just continue with our old form. Okay, so coming back to my form, the first thing I want to do is to create a ranking question. And I'd already created one there, but let me just create it again. You click on a new question, then you can specify the question. Like in my case, I'm just repeating this. Type, please rank how important these items are to your budget, to your budget decisions, with 1 being most important and 3 being least important. Okay. I'll just copy that and put it on the chat if you want to quickly copy and paste. Now, once you do that, then click on add question, and in the question types, the selection, click on ranking. Now, in our case, there are 2 things here. You might want people to rank, you'll have the items that you want to be ranked. For example, in our question, we want to understand how important are these specific items to the budget decisions that the respondent makes. So in our case, we've got the available budget, how much money he has to spend. So on the right side here, where we have, on the right side of the question, we put the items that we want. So we'll say available budget, distance to market, partner's choice. Maybe you have to ask your wife or husband how much to spend. And in order for us to add a new one, we just click that plus sign and maybe date of manufacture. These are the items that we want to be ranked. What considerations do you make when making budget decisions? Now, we want them to be ranked. So in that case, maybe we have the most important, as we said, number 1 being the most important, and number 3 being the least important. In that case, we have 3 choices, but take note that we have 4 items. In other words, what we are trying to say here is that you can control, how many items can be ranked. Like, for example, you can have 5 items, but you want only the 3 most important. So in that case, you can put your three here. So first choice, second choice, and third choice. So on the left, just click on the plus sign in order to be able to add how many items you want to be ranked. I hope you've understood me there, okay? What I'm saying is that maybe there are 4 criteria, but you only want the 3 most important ones, okay? If for example, you want all the items to be ranked, the 4 of them, then you just add another one, 4th choice. But if, for example, you only want the 3 most important, then you can you only put first choice, second choice, and third choice. Okay, so you can delete the 4th choice that we've added. I hope that's clear. I hope you're doing it, implementing it. Anybody who has a difficulty?
So if you have any question, please raise your hand or type in the chat. I don't see any hands, so you may proceed.
Okay, can I give them just 30 seconds to finish it up?
Oh, sure.
Sufuria, kreti ya soda, alafu sijui nini, mamiwa,
Okay. So I want to believe everyone has created their ranking question. And now we move to the rating question. So once again, we add a new question. And now you'll see the difference between ranking and rating. So rate allows us to be able to rate particular items on, as one of our friends has told us, on a Leakage scale. It can be a Leakage scale of any type. I've just chosen a very simple one, which maybe is not even part of Leakage scale, but just for demonstration purposes. So for example, we might want to understand, please rate the following items related to agricultural extension services provided, okay? So in that case, we want to understand whether how the respondent finds certain, services that have been provided, and to rate them according to a particular scale. So create a new question, click on add question, and this time click on rating. Now you can see that rating is a little bit different. So according to my questionnaire, the extension services, we can have a number of items like friendliness of staff. So under enter question, just type there, friendliness of staff. How friendly are the staff? The other thing you want to understand is how they found the speed of service. So click on the plus sign and click on speed of service. The other thing you want to understand is how helpful the staff were, helpfulness of staff. And lastly, we want to understand whether they got value for money. So, and enter your question, add value for money. Now, we then move to creating our Leakage scale. In my case, I just used a very simple one, poor, good, and excellent. So you can see here on the right, we have options. So the first option is, for each one, you can rate whether they are poor, good, or excellent. Friendliness of staff, were they poor, good, or excellent? So type poor in the first one. In the second one, type good. And then of course, we want to add a third one. So even if you've got 10 items on a Leakage scale, you can add all of them, all the 10. So just click on the plus sign, and that will give you another option. And you can type excellent. So Enoch is saying yes, he's using his phone. He might not be able to continue. No problem, Enoch. We have the recording, you can always follow through. Okay. So you can see, so for example, how friendly were the staff? Poor, good, or excellent? How's the speed of service? Poor, good, or excellent? You are rating, as opposed to ranking, where you rank items according to some sort of magnitude, you know, the most to the least. Have we all done that? Anybody who is lost? Are we all doing it on our computers? Hello?
Hello. Members, are you following?
Idrisu,
Yes.
nice to see you again. Are you following?
Yeah.
Are you doing it?
I'm following. I'm following. Thank you.
Oh, okay, great.
I'm
No,
following.
feedback is
Thank you.
important because tomorrow is a holiday. So maybe the brain is already on holiday.
We are following.
Okay. So I hope that demonstrates to you the difference between ranking and rating questions. Okay. Moving on swiftly because of time. Unfortunately, I might still not go the whole 2 hours because of another commitment, but I know I'll be able to cover what I wanted to cover. The next type of question I wanted us to look at is a matrix type of question. We define a matrix type of question or a response type allows users to create a group of questions that display in a matrix format where each cell within the matrix represents a separate question. And therefore, we need to create a table with rows and columns. When we have an intersection of rows and columns, then that is what we are calling a cell, okay? So we all know how things can be in a tabular format. For example, we've got a column here like English, Kiswahili, local dialect, and we have rows that represent different response items like mother, father, and self. So for example, what does your mother speak? She can speak English, Kiswahili, and maybe your father can speak English and local dialect, and yourself, you can speak maybe only one language. So you want to collect data that is, you know, representing 2 different attributes, and then they give you one value. Let's take this example, for example. Which of the following agricultural implements do you own and indicate the quantity? So for example, we want to know, do you possess a tractor, a knapsack sprayer, a djembe, and a slasher? So the first thing is, do you even possess it? Okay, so you can say either yes or no. And then if you possess them, how many? Or like this other one, we might want to ask, which languages do your family members speak? So you want to know what the mother speaks, what the father speaks, and what the individual himself or herself speaks. And then you want to know which specific languages like English, Kiswahili, and local dialect. Let's move with this second option, which is just a little bit more complex, but is what is typically in a questionnaire. So add a new question and type the question, which of the following agricultural implements do you own and in what quantity? Add the question, and this time select the matrix, or the question matrix, yes. So you can see now you'll be asked for the column and the row. So the first column, let's create the columns first. The column is whether they possess and how many. So in this case, you see this icon here that is a gear, like a gear. Click on it. and we have to give the column a column label. So in this case, we are just saying, do they even possess it? Okay. And the next column is how many do they possess? So move on to the second column, here written column, and just click on the gear and ask there how many of each do you have? Okay. Don't worry about the column suffix. So we've created our columns. Okay. If you wanted to add a new column, there's this plus sign here. You just click on it and a new column will come, but we have only 2 columns, so I'll not add a new one. So mine, I'll just delete that one. Then next, we want to create the rows. So we come here to row and click on the gear column. And the first row we want to know is whether they possess a tractor. Okay. And click on the plus sign to add another one. And click on the gear, and then we have knapsack sprayer. And then once again, click on the plus sign, and we want to know, so on the gear, click on whether they have a jembe. From those who are not from Kenya, a jembe is just, I'm sure it's all over Africa, that implement used to dig the ground. And then of course, a slasher. Now, having done that, there's something maybe I want you to go back to the columns, click on possess, and on the gear for possess, you can see here the response type. We want the person to say whether they own a tractor, yes or no. So in that case, we can go back to the response type and click on the down arrow and say select one. When you say select one, then we have options. So under label, option 1, you can say yes and no on the second one. This will make the respondent say whether he possesses a tractor or not, or he possesses a jembe or not. Okay. Go back to the gear for how many and also click on it. And again, under response type, we are looking for a number. So we cannot have a text. How many tractors do you own? We want numerical figures. So click on number after clicking the down arrow. And now we have our matrix type of question. Okay, so we'll deploy the form later and see how it works. But for now, you can see that, you know, we now have our question whereby we can ask, do you possess this item? Yes or no, and how many? Okay, so that is when we have multiple dimensions to a question. You want to know whether they possess something and how many they have of that particular item. That particular question is having maybe multiple data points. Click on save so that you can save your work. And up to that point, can I just have a confirmation that we are together? Have I moved too fast? I know I'm a little bit fast today.
Yeah, we are together.
Okay, great. Now we have again another, so there are two more question types I want us to look at. We have another type of question type called the range. The range almost looks like rating. It almost looks like rating. And the only difference is that with the rating, you can rate multiple items, but with the range, you can specify a range of values from a starting point to an ending point, and then the users can be able to specify a value within that range. Now, using this example, we might want to ask, can you rate the effectiveness of the project? I know that sounds confusing because it might sound like it's a rating question. But again, we can still use the range to do rating. But the point about the range is that it's a different data type. It has a starting point and an ending point, and then users can be able to specify a range in between. Click on a new question and click rate the effectiveness of the project. Add the question and use a range. Click on range. So we can start our rating from maybe 1. So maybe the starting point is 1. You can click on 1 for the start. And maybe we want to end at 5. So you can click down at 5. And then we would like to step. Step is what value does it increment by? So you can either say 1, which means you can either rate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or you can put any other value in between. Of course, a very common range is a step value is usually 1, most of the time, that is, but it will depend on your questionnaire, by the way. Okay, so let's just leave the step value as 1. And that's just about it. So you create a range. When we deploy the form, then you can be able to look at how it works. But like this one uses most of the time it uses a slider. So you can, like when guys are responding to the questionnaire, they can slide. They can just use maybe the mouse or the fingers to slide and put a rating. So that gives us a range of values. Lastly, the last data type, because we didn't manage to finish on these data types last time, is, thank you so much. I'm happy everyone is getting it clearly. And by the way, even before I proceed, what about our new friends? I'm really working like everyone else was there, but of course the new people who didn't last time, how are you lost? Are you there?
We are good.
Great. The last one is a calculate field. There are some instances when you want a value to be calculated based on other fields that you have created. So, for example, in this question here, you might have how many boys are in this household, how many girls are in this household. Sorry, I did not. Let me just change that so that it's very clear. Okay. How many boys are in this household, how many girls are in this household, and therefore we want to find the total number of children. Okay, Kanyua, you'll get the recording. Yeah, so in that case, we'll take the sum of the boys and the girls. Obviously, we can be able to use many other types of calculation like division, multiplication, or even some sort of formula. But in this case, we just want to use a very simple, addition of the number of girls and the number of boys. So in that case, click on a new question. And that's how many boys are in this household? Those of you who are here last time, what question type will that be? Is it a text, a number, a date, audio, photo? Yes, it's a number. It's a numeric value, so it's a number. Yes, thanks for that response. And same to the girls. How many girls are there in this household? And it will be a number. So the next thing we want to do is to create a field that will calculate, add the number of boys to the number of girls. So we'll add a new question, and we have to put what is called an expression. So, sorry, let's come back here to how many boys are in this household. Click on this gear. Click on this gear so that we can edit more details about the question. You see here the data column name. It is created automatically. How underscore many underscore boys underscore, let's just call it boys so that it's easy for us. Data column name. And same to the girls. When you go on that gear, the data column name, instead of having that long title, just call it girls. Now, in order for us to reference a value, okay, we must put a $sign in front of the column name. So we'll use the column name to reference the boys and the girls. That is the value for the boys and the girls. Okay. So here in this new question we're going to use an expression starting with the $sign and then the column name boys. Sorry, in curly brackets, boys. Then we put an addition sign plus $sign in curly brackets, girls. Now, remember, this becomes a display question only. You'll not be able to enter how the total number of boys and girls. It will be calculated automatically. So $sign, curly brackets or braces, boys, plus $sign, curly braces, girls. Click on add question, and this time we'll use the data type calculate. So just to spice things up a little bit, we'll add an additional question here that will confirm. Okay. Oh, sorry, and here, back to the calculate question, click on the gear sign, and under data column name, call it total underscore children. And we can just ask a question. Let me just copy what I had here. And I'll paste that for you. So we'll say, for example, you said you have a total of, then we want the value to be calculated, the value that is calculated to be displayed. Dollar, curly braces, total underscore children in this house. So this expression will actually show the total number of children that are in the house. Okay. Because I'd already created that, for me, it has created just something a little bit different. So that I don't have an error, I'll copy it this way. But yours is just fine as total underscore children. You know, I'd already created total underscore children here, so that's why it has appended this 001. We cannot have, you know, questions with the same column names. Okay, save your work. And those are the major question types that I had wanted us to add. So this time around, maybe because of time, we will simply go to my project. Sorry. Maybe you can preview. Taking some time. So don't worry, maybe these are the questions that we created last time. So you can see, starting with our ranking question, please rank how important these items are to your budget decisions, with 1 being most important and 3 being least important. So you'll have your first choice. Maybe for me, it's very important what my partner says. That's the most important. So that's the first choice. Then secondly, the available budget. And thirdly, maybe the distance to the market. So notice that we had 4 choices, but we only wanted to rank 3. But it will depend on your questionnaire. Okay, so my questions have repeated, sorry, so that's just the same one. Then you can see, yes, it will be recorded, yes, for the, sorry if we've gone a bit fast, and also for those who were not there the first time, maybe the other types of questions were not, didn't come out clear. The second one is the rating one. Please rate the following items related to agricultural extension services provided. Friendliness of staff, maybe it was excellent. Speed of service, maybe it was good. Helpfulness of staff, maybe it was good. And value for money, maybe it was poor. And again, I just repeated that question. So don't worry about this one, about the dialect. I would remove it. So which of the following agricultural implements do you own? Indicate the quantity. Okay. For example, do you own a tractor? Yes. How many? Maybe just 1. Do you own an knapsack sprayer? Yes. How many? Maybe I have 2. Do you own a djembe? Maybe no. Do you own a slasher? Maybe no. Okay, so you can get the flow of the questions. Again, that is repeated there. Now, this is the other rating question, which I was telling you, you can be able to rate on a sliding scale. Rate the effectiveness of the project, okay? So you can be able to rate from 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So maybe it is 4, and I just click on it. Lastly, how many boys are in this household? Maybe I've got 8 and maybe 9 girls. Yeah. Yes, so yeah, this should have displayed the total number of children. They need to troubleshoot that. You said you have a total of. Okay.
It's the last bracket. It's supposed to be curly bracket.
Yes, the last bracket is supposed to be a curly bracket. Yes, sorry. So I need to edit that. So go back to my form and edit it so that. Thanks for that troubleshooting. Now, let me tell you one thing, guys. You'll be surprised. When you do this in the field, it can be so frustrating. I was trying to find permission to share with you one of the questionnaires, and it took us days to create it and troubleshoot it and all that. All these errors, some of these errors that what our friend has just said, they usually come up. Let me just share with you one for you to maybe appreciate that it might look simple in a training. Like, this is one questionnaire we did recently. And the initial questions were very easy, you know, just text, numbers. Then now we started having these matrix type of questions. And within these matrix types of questions, they had questions that had, you know, multiple choices, one choice, ranking, rating. So you end up realizing that actually what I'm teaching you are just the basics. But when you get a proper questionnaire out in the field, you'll find yourself taking days on end properly coding this or creating this questionnaire. Okay, so yeah, this is just an example. I don't know whether I'm allowed to share this. The professor told me he'll find out from the UK sponsoring agency, which he didn't manage to do. So I'll not share it with you, but I just want to highlight to you the kind of questions that you could end up creating in the field. And I can assure you, you'll need.
Sorry, there's a question, Conrad, from
Yes.
Ode. She asks, where could it be accessed?
What is that? This questionnaire?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as I said, I'm not so sure I have permission to share it with guys.
Okay.
Just that I just wanted to demonstrate that in a training, creating those questions can look simple, but in the field, you might end up with a lengthy questionnaire like this one, and you have to be very careful. Actually, I was sharing this because of how our friend has just corrected us, like that curly brace. You make a small mistake and then the questionnaire ends up not executing properly. Okay, so I'm not so sure. When the professor gets back to me, if he allows me to share, I can share it with you, and then you can see whether you can be able to create it on your own. Now, lastly, before we conclude, for those who were not with us last time, Oh, sorry. 1 minute, just again. Oh, sorry, it's still saving. Okay. There's something I want to. That is just. Sorry. So come back to the main interface here and click on form. And then just click on redeploy. And for those who it's their first time, you just need to click on
Is it just me or did we lose Conrad's audio?
request for you, Nani Kanyo.
Oh, could you please come again that last sentence? I think we lost your audio for a minute there.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So I'm saying we come back to the main, come back to the main screen from your project. And click on this interface here called form. And because we made some changes, we need to redeploy. But if you were doing it for the first time, then you only need to click on deploy form to deploy, because you want the changes to be effective. Now, for those who are coming the first time, we did this on our mobile phones last time, but maybe because of time, we'll not do it. I just want us to be able to insert data from our computer. So we've got multiple submission types, okay? If you click on Android application, then this will deploy to your phone. You can be able to deploy it to your phone. But again, going through the process of deploying it on the phone, we already have a recording for that last time. You can watch it. This time, I want you to click here, just let it default to online, offline, multiple submission, and click on open. That will open a new tab. So we are here, online, offline submission. Click here on open, and that will open.
Kanyo is asking, does Monkey Survey Monkey or Google Form work the same way?
No, this one has got a lot more advanced functionalities than Monkey Survey and Google Forms. Actually, let me just show you something. Some of the things you may not get on see, like right now here we are doing groupings of responses. We've got the way we code data in a questionnaire. Like for example here, male, you can see this thing here called XML value, MFP, prefer not to say male, female. I mean, it's built much better for proper research than just Google Forms that is built for simple responses. Okay. Okay. So here we are. Please, after you've clicked open, now fill in your questionnaire. Put your name. Put your gender. Put your age. And for those who didn't have these particular questions, then you can watch the recording and see how we created it. Okay. And we create the rest of the question. Do you own land? Yes. Specify the details of each piece of land. Number of hectares, types of use, agricultural. If you want to capture a GPS location, we take that. Then now we can do our ranking question. First choice, partner's choice. Okay, I have to, those ones were repeated, so they have no choice. Oh, sorry. And I can rate each of those. And rate each of those. That particular question was not very well, but don't worry about it. At least I didn't ask you to put this one, so I'm just filling it in. In other words, we are just trying to fill in our questionnaire. Possessor tractor, yes. Knapsack sprayer, yes. Jembe, no. Slasher, no. Yeah, I can. Let the effectiveness. How many boys are in this household? 6. How many girls? So you can see, you said you have a total of 11 children in this household. It has added up the 6 and the 5 boys and girls. And that should be the same. And then you can click on submit. Okay. And as we said last time, once we return to our list and our project, you can click on data. And you should be able now to see your response. Okay. You can see it, for example, in a report format. So click on reports. So these are the ones that we had been selecting that day, or we had been inputting that day. You can see some very basic summary statistics like the number of males, the number of females, the mean of the ages, whether the number of people married, the proportion of people married and those not married, etc. Or you can download your form into Excel. So you click on downloads and just click on download. And that will give you an Excel file, which will be downloaded to your computer. Okay, so when you open that, you'll find you can see your Excel file. Okay, so I don't know. I really, today I know I was a little bit fast because I know I have to be moving by about 8:30. But I hope for those who were there last time, you've seen the additional data types. For those who are not there last time, watch the recording of the earlier one. Sorry, so this is just my, I've downloaded. So you can open the Excel file once you get it, and you can be able to export your data now to, to Stata or SPSS for further analysis. Okay. For those who are not there last time, now that we've gone through this, you should be able to see that actually the earlier parts were very easy. Okay, we're just looking at things like creating basic question types. Like, for example, what is your name? You just add a question. Okay, I'll just repeat that. What is your name? And then you click on add question. And because name is in text format, you just click on text. Okay, because name takes textual format like Wangari, Conrad, like that. Then you can add questions like this one here. What is your gender? That only needs one response. What is your gender?
Are you sharing screen?
Oh, sorry, my screen wasn't shared, sorry.
Yeah.
Let me share. Okay. So what is your gender? Add question. And then this one, we need to select only one. Okay. So under this, you can say select only one. Then you have the options. So for example, gender, we have male and female. Of course, nowadays we have politically correct responses. Like, for example, some people say, I prefer not to say. Okay. It depends on your questionnaire and what your policy is. Okay. Then we have questions like, like this one here, where you can select multiple. Which of the following are your household sources of income? So you can just add a question and say which of the following are your household sources of income. Sources. Oh, sorry. Sources. And when you add the question, then here you can select many, because maybe you have a business. You might also have salary. Maybe, so if you've got more options, you just click on this plus sign to add another option. Sorry, I've misspelled that, salary. Okay, maybe you get remittances from abroad. And also maybe some people get a pension. It just depends on your questionnaire, but this allows the respondent to select multiple choices. Now, click one here and add other. So sometimes you have your own choices, but maybe the respondent has got other options. Okay, so maybe they do business, salary, remittances, pension, and maybe they have other sources, I don't know. So other, you just want them to specify other. So this is what we are calling the skip logic. And this is just for the benefit of those who are not there. When someone says other, you might want them to specify what other. So you need to add a new question and type specify which other source. So this one will be in a text format. Okay. And once we do that, here in this question that we've created, go to the gear button. And once you click on the gear button, we'll see skip logic. So click on skip logic. Then we'll add a condition. Okay. The condition will be select question from list. So usually it's just about the last question that you created. Okay. Which is down here. So which of the following are your household sources of income? So click that one. Then in between, you'll see an equal sign, equals to. And then right next to it, we'll see the list of options that we had given, like business, salary, remittances from abroad, pension, and other. So click on other. What this means basically is that whenever somebody chooses other, then they should be asked the question, which, they should be asked the question, specify which other source of income. Okay, that is what we mean by the skip logic. It's usually a very important part of creating a questionnaire. So I didn't want those who were new to miss that particular part. Okay, so I think with that, I want to conclude. Again, sorry if I was a bit fast, but yeah, I know we're supposed to go till 9, but again, I just have to start something else at about 8:35. And for your own reference, this particular site, I find it very helpful. You can also use it to learn how to create a questionnaire on Kobo Toolbox. Okay, over to you, Wangari. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions, feel free, even on my email. Let me just share that. Ojiambo.
Yes, please share your email address. I was going to ask. I can see Musembei's hand is up. Do you have 1 minute to take one question?
Sure.
Okay, Musembei, welcome.
Thank you very much. I just have a quick one. Please clarify to me the question you were addressing about. You said you have a total of total children blah blah in the house. How did you classify that? Was it
it was a calculate? Yeah, it was a calculate question.
I thought calculate was the one of boys plus girls.
Oh yes, sorry, yes. Now let me just go back there quickly. I think I know what you're saying. Okay, so what happened is we asked how many boys are in this household.
Yes.
So let's say we have 6 boys, and then how many girls are in this household? We say 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then you say you have a total of 11 children in this household. Okay. Now, take note that the calculate question is never displayed, because you cannot input data into a field that is going to be calculated. It is a derived value. Mm-hmm. We only created it so that we can be able to see it. That's why we added this question. You see this one, you said you have a total number of 11 children in this household. I put this question here so that when we put the number of boys and the number of girls, you can be able to confirm that calculation correctly.
I understand that, but I've not.
Yes.
Okay. But you have not yet answered my question.
Okay, sorry, just rephrase it. Yeah.
The question that you said you have a total number of 11 children in this house. When you are adding that question, how do you add it? Like a text or in what category? That's what I'm asking. When you are adding the question.
Okay. Let's just go back there. Where did we have this? I seem to have lost that question. Okay, so should you have a total number of dollar?
A dollar sign?
Yeah, then total. We call it what? Total underscore?
Children.
Children, yes.
Yeah. Children in this house.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
So then we added a question, and actually it is a text.
Okay. That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it is a
Thank
text.
you so much for availing your time, and we have learned quite a lot. A lot of people have been asking about Kobo Toolbox, so we are really grateful for your facilitating the 2 sessions. So members, if any of you want to follow up, you can also email Conrad. He will give you more specific guidance. Thank you very much, everybody. Please fill in the feedback form and have a good night.